Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me say I'm very happy to be here. And this is not going to be a sort of a talk or a lecture, just perhaps a freewheeling conversation with all of you. I'm probably the oldest presenter of today. I am, as of now, 65 years old, but I have had, in many ways, a very privileged life. I come from an extremely well-known political family that never ever taught me that as a girl I cannot study, that I cannot question, that I cannot fight back. In the long run, all of this stood me in very good stead because I have been a single mother from the age of 33. But I was also taught that the best way for anybody to equip themselves is a fantastic education. I was always a good student. I was lucky. In fact, my classmates, whom I'm still in touch with, will make fun of me and say that I used to cry if I didn't come first or second in class. But more than that, I was taught that I must study hard enough and well enough to be able to stand on my own feet. An opportunity that is not offered even today to most young girls. When I was sitting at that table down there, I asked, is the audience mainly girls or boys? I was told 50-50, which I'm actually very happy about. Because when we were in college, and I was again lucky enough to be in the first batch of girls who went to St. Stephen's College in Delhi University, and we were 5 girls in economics out of 122 students. Today I am told there are more girls than boys in eco in Stephens, but that is after about 40 years. Now, I was 17 when I went to college, so it's actually more than 40 years. It's almost 50 years. What I would like to tell all of you, both boys and girls, has nothing to do with studying hard, etc., which I'm sure all of you have already done. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. The young girl, lady who invited me to come and speak here today, told me she's just given her IELTS. I asked her for what. She said to go to the US to study, which is much more than young girls of my generation aspire to, or at least most of us. The few lucky ones who managed to get through school were allowed to get into college and weren't married off at the age of 15 or 16 or 17. Most of us have understood the hard way that independence and what today is called agency, the capacity and the opportunity to be able to make decisions for yourself, is not based just on education. Yes, that is the starting point. But there are a lot of other things that are not today considered very important in the education that is given to us. For one, discipline. If you want to be successful, you have to have discipline in all aspects of your life. Whether it is the time you wake up and you go to sleep, whether it is the fact that you eat properly. I think I heard that a young girl talked about nutrition today. Please, I hope you all have taken notes about what she said, because without nutrition, it's very difficult to survive and work hard. Of course, once you get the opportunity, you have to slog your butt off. If you don't work hard, success is not going to come your way, and even if it does, it's very ephemeral. It won't stay very long. You lose it as quickly as you get it. As a woman, I can tell you that you need to first believe in yourself. Forget about everybody else, whether they believe in you, don't believe in you, it's all right. It's a battle every woman has fought, especially from my generation. The generations of young girls sitting here, you're far luckier. So don't forget that there have been many, many before you who fought much harder to get where we are. Most women are not supposed to talk about their personal lives, especially in my generation. One of the biggest reasons that I was a single mother with 2 young girls by the age of about 35 was because I had a husband who died of alcoholism. When that happened, everybody said, "Ayyo, idella velila pesakoodadu." To say it in Hindi, bahar ye baat nahi kar sakte hain. Otherwise, the family name, what will people say? Today, that is much less. You're allowed to talk frankly, you're allowed to ask questions. I was one of the lucky ones who my mother and my aunt, my atte, who was a very formidable leader in the CPI, told me that you must learn to manage money early. They taught me the 30-30-40 rule, which is what today is being touted in many business magazines I hear. That is, that 40% of your income should be saved. And when you save it and how you save it, please learn how to do it so that when you need to fall back on your savings, you have enough to fall back on. The remaining 60%, of course, is divided into your household and other expenses that you may incur or may want to incur. To the youngsters who are sitting here today, I'd like to say this, that life is just for you all beginning. Life is very long and not easy. Especially for those who make it to the top, it is not easy. We hear about people who are successful after they are successful. The journey to success is never easy, requires an enormous amount of hard slog, and most often quite lonely. These are things that you should not get sentimental about. We are a very sentimental country. I'm not saying sentiment is bad, but you need to think with both your head and your heart. Remember to have a support system in place, whether they are good friends, whether they are your bankers, whether they are colleagues whom you can depend upon, whether it is a safe haven you have built for yourself, a home or a place you can go off to every 6 months for a holiday, etc. Don't overdo things. Take a few days off now and then so that you can re-energize yourself. Pay enough attention to your mental health. India doesn't talk about mental health even today. If you say, I'm going to a psychiatrist, they will say, "Aye, yeah, paitim puchirka." Or in Hindi, pagal ho gayi ho. But mental health is one of the most important aspects of success. To be tough mentally is not easy. Like I said, don't expect things to be easy. Life is not just a smooth, easy road. Some days will be wonderful, some days will be utter hell. You know, like a parable, when I left home today, it was quite warm and humid. It had drizzled a little in the night. Halfway, about 3/4 the way here, it started pouring cats and dogs. That's how life is. One day is wonderful, one day is the pits. But it doesn't mean that you give up, especially to women and girls. I'm not saying that I'm not addressing the young boys here or the young men here, but women have a much harder time with success. We are taught from the time we are born that success is to look good, to get married, to have a good marriage, to support your family. Fine, all of that, there's nothing wrong in that. But marriage is not the be-all and end-all of any woman's life. If you have a family, take care of it. Treasure it, yes, but never accept disrespect. Respect is the most solid basis of any relationship, professional, personal, marital, extramarital, whatever. You have a boyfriend, the guy doesn't respect you, kick him out. You have a child who doesn't respect you, teach them to respect you. It doesn't come easy. And learn to respect yourself. People will always say something or the other. Or you're too fat, your hair is not nice, you're too skinny, your teeth are not good, you're not so attractive, you don't look good in photos, blah, blah, blah. But you learn to respect yourself and make it clear that if somebody else doesn't respect you, you don't want to have a relationship with them. It is, again, not easy to do. It's very tough. Please look after your health. I am a cancer survivor. I was detected with second stage breast cancer about 2017, so about 6 years ago. I just gone for an annual checkup and they found out that I had second grade breast cancer. I had to have 2 surgeries, the usual chemotherapy, radiation, etc. I still am on a medicine that makes life hell for me sometimes, but I'm alive. So, invest in your health. Put away enough money that if you need expenses for health services, which are very costly in this country, that you don't have to ask anybody else. This is for both girls and boys, men and women. Don't ever overlook how important your health is in your life. We tend to put it aside. You know, we don't eat lunch at the right time. It's okay. I've got a little acidity. I'll have whatever the current tablet is, an antacid. Fine, once in a way. Don't make it a habit. Eat in the mornings. If you want, get in some, whatever exercise suits you. Some people walk. Some people are health freaks. Otherwise, at the very least, do enough what my doctor used to call physio. It's basically a mixture of yoga and exercise, etc. Do something. If you can't do it every day, do it 5 days a week. Don't beat yourself up, but be regular. And extremely important is the fact that you make time for yourself. Whether it is to spend chatting with friends, whether it is to go on a holiday, whether it is to just sit and do nothing at home, whether you want to watch television serials, that's your choice. But spend time on yourself, for yourself. Don't always put everybody else first, and don't always put your career first either. Like I said, that support system is invaluable. As you grow older, you realize. Oh, and there were 3 words that I was taught when I was young, which I have used till today, and they never let me down. Thank you, please, and sorry. All 3 demand that you keep your ego in check. It's very easy to get egotistic. Very easy when you're successful. Very easy to give lectures and all the rest of it. But when you make a mistake, you have the guts and the grace to say sorry. You see the difference it makes even in your own self. Regardless of who may have done you a favor, opened a car door for you, held an umbrella for you, say thank you. You don't become smaller by saying thank you ever. Sorry and thank you are 2 of the most powerful words in any language. And please teaches you that things don't just come free. A little courtesy, a little kindness, a little empathy. Always you can see it in really the most successful people in life. Arrogance is fine in a short term, but in the long term, believe me, it makes more enemies and brings more ill will towards you. I have, my family has faced an enormous amount of tragedy. I lost my father in an air crash in 1973 when I was 15 and a half. My father was possibly the closest associate of the then Prime Minister, the late Indira Gandhi. He was a thorough leftist. His name was Kumaramangalam. My brother, my own elder brother, was also a cabinet minister when he died. His name was Rangarajan Kumaramangalam. 2 extraordinarily popular, very, very different in character perhaps, but very, very good human beings. My sisters, my own elder sister's elder son, who was doing extraordinarily well in his life, he also died, disappeared in an air crash, the MH370, which disappeared in 2014. So life can change like this. You don't know what's going to come around the corner. When I was still 15 and a half, I didn't know what life was. I was born into privilege, born into money, born into power. I didn't know what reality was. At 15 and a half, when Appa just died, just like that, overnight. I mean, we had no warning. One moment, he was there, he said bye, he caught a plane to Delhi. In about 3 hours after that, we were told that he's crashed and he's most probably dead. Life changed after that. I learned to go by bus, I learned to use an auto, I learned that I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get to school by 7 in Delhi in that cold winter. But it taught me what it means to live life like the average Indian perhaps. Actually not so average because I went to a very good school. And my mother always emphasized education as one of the most important founding blocks for anybody's life. So in that sense, I still was privileged, much more so privileged than many, many, many lakhs of Indians who don't have access to good education. So let me also congratulate every student sitting here because you all have made it to this level, to undergraduate to a good college, which for you will be the first stepping stone in your life. Whatever you want to do it without doubting yourself. Sometimes if you make a mistake, it's fine. Everybody makes mistakes. Don't look at me and ever think that I haven't made a mistake. I've made many mistakes. Even now, when I have a conversation with my 10-and-a-half-year-old granddaughter, I sometimes stop and think and say, Ayyo, I shouldn't say this to her. Her generation is so different from mine. So mistakes are part of life. Don't kill yourself, agonize over it too much. Get over it and move on. If there is a relationship that's toxic, for God's sake, break it. And this is especially to the girls and women. If there is any form of discrimination against you, call it out. It doesn't matter if other people don't stand with you. Call it out. I was the head of the National Commission for Women. And all I did, my daughters used to say was, Ma, work, work, work from morning to night. The load of work in a commission like that, where you deal every day with all sorts of crimes against women. And I'm not talking about, small crimes like getting a slap in the face. Even that, no woman should accept. Never accept any form of violence against yourself. It doesn't matter who stands with you or not. If you call it out, you must call it out. Don't hesitate. This is what I say when I say self-respect is one of the most important things, especially for young women and girls. Across the age, all women and girls, every individual, not just girls, even boys and men. But girls are not taught that you have the right to self-respect. You have the right to be treated equally, or at least to be given an equal opportunity. That's the very least. Having given birth to us, our families, our teachers, our society, everybody owes it to us, but we also have to grab it. You can't assume it's going to come and land in your lap. Nothing does. So stand up for yourself. Work hard. Be honest to yourself. For God's sake, don't become too arrogant. It doesn't pay in the long run. Work your ass off, work your butt off. That is part of success. Almost nobody would have, I won't believe it when anybody tells me that I've become a big success, whatever age, background, etc. you may come from. And don't discriminate with others. Again, I was lucky enough to be born in a family where we don't bother about caste, really. My father, mother, grandmother, grandfather were all different castes. We have been in almost every political party. Traditionally, mine is a Congress family, but I was in the BJP, so was my brother. But it never made any difference within the family. There is a story in my family. My mother used to say that sometime before I was born in the middle 1950s, my father and grandfather were standing against each other in our ancestral town, Tiruchangode, which used to be in Salem district. Today it's a district on its own. Apparently my grandmother, who was a Saraswat Brahmin who came from Mangalore, told my father and grandfather that when you finish your campaigning and come home, like you leave your slippers outside, you will leave your politics outside. This is my home, this is my house. You are my son and my husband. I don't want politics at my dining table. So we grew up respecting that. Whatever the differences you may have, family is family. I'm not saying if somebody does wrong, cover it up. Don't. Call it out. But your loyalty should always be there. There is no better substitute for a family that stays together. None. But your family doesn't only have to be your relatives. They could be your friends. There could be other people who are special to you. Build yourself that family and stand by it. Well, I don't think there's anything much more I need to tell you all. You all have young people who have been extraordinarily successful, who have been talking to you from morning. I think I've run out of time also. It says 00 here. But thank you for giving me this opportunity, and anybody wants to talk to me on a one-on-one level, you can take my email me, and I will be very happy to communicate with all of you. I hope I made some sense. I hope what I said will somehow have inspired you or be useful for you all. Thank you very much.